couple of moments that were meant to be just like, aw. And I totally did the whole aw thing because by contrast, you're just relieved that there's like a real moment in the movie. You're just like, oh, fuck. Okay, thank you.
And then completely destroyed by the next scene.
Yeah.
2 seconds later, they dump oatmeal on his head and he's crying. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, now we're back to humiliating Richard Pryor.
Ooh, deep breaths during the entire movie.
Your back. Hello, welcome to Cinematic Problematic. I am Erin Maxwell.
And I am Kristina Rettig.
And this week, we attempt to tackle the masterpiece known as The Toy, where an out-of-work actor named Jack Brown is, quote, unquote, rented by a small child named Masturbates. Let's sit
take
on
that in
for a sec. Let that sink in for a moment there. Who only sees his father once a year, yet somehow has a bedroom the size of a Soho artist loft. And it's filled with all the toys that you could possibly imagine from the 80s. And standing at an astounding 3% on Rotten Tomatoes, and what Spike Lee has called the most racist movie ever made, more so than Birth of a Nation. The Toy is directed by Richard Donner and is possibly the worst films I have ever seen. Krissie.
And I want to thank Erin personally for traumatizing me with this film probably about 40 years after the fact, because I don't think I've watched it since I was a very small child. This movie came out in 1982. And I do want to point out that Spike Lee apparently thinks that this movie is more racist than Soul Man, another 1980s favorite.
This did come out before Soul Man. So he didn't have a good... I don't know when he made that statement.
It had to have been post 1980s. When was Soul Man? 86? Something like that?
Yeah. Clearly he made this. Yeah, so you're correct. He did think that this movie was more racist than Soul Man, more racist than Birth of a Nation, a movie that saw the Klan as great.
And had white actors in blackface chasing white women around with menacing looks on their faces.
And saw the fall of the South as one of the most devastating parts of American history.
I mean, let's be honest, Erin. This is a podcast about honesty, so let's just be honest about it. I mean, it was pretty fucked up, right? Anyways, okay, let's talk about The Toy. Erin, continue. What else would you like to say as prep? Tell me about the first time that you watched it. Let's start there. Tell me about what you remembered about this film before we kind of dive into it.
Again, let's all take a moment, because a recurring theme in this podcast is that we all had HBO as a child, and HBO would really hammer home these really shitty movies all the time. And The Toy was no exception. I saw this movie a lot as a child. And I don't think I really saw it because I remember it in bits and pieces. I didn't remember the Klan connection at the end.
Oh, totally didn't remember that.
I didn't remember. There are bits and parts I just didn't remember, but there were bits and parts of it I clearly remembered. I remember the Spider-Man costumes, you remember, I think. I remember them making a newspaper. I remember him having the naked picture of his wife that was remote controlled, that he controlled from his desk.
Did not remember that at all.
Yes, I remembered that very clearly.
Well, should we rewind for a second and just give them a basic?
Yeah.
Okay. So movie starts out. Richard Pryor and his friends are playing a card game, right?
Yes.
And what are they using?
They're playing poker, and they're playing for food stamps.
Yay, because that's what Black people do. Anyways, so he is in a little bit of a financial pickle. He has not made the payments on a house that he inherited. He is $10,000 short, and he is desperate for work. And he goes into the offices one of the offices of U.S. Bates, a very rich person, and hijinks ensue. He tries to get a job as a writer. They don't hire Black writers, obviously. He tries to be a maid. He tries to work at a toy shop, and the kid sees him at the toy shop and says, I want that for my toy.
And hijinks ensue.
And throughout the movie, the kid is he just wants to be hugged. He's a little demon. He's a little fucking demon. He's terrible.
He's a little demon, and then gets his jollies off of humiliating Richard Pryor in various ways. And not just him, but the entire Bates family.
The entire Bates family, including Fancy.
Fancy is a monster.
She's terrible. She is the very young trophy wife of U.S. Bates. She doesn't serve that much of a purpose, but to just be a piece of eye candy with big boobs. Of course, because this is the 80s, it's like the magical Negro needs to make friends with the little white kid, teach him some lessons about journalism and about truth seeking. And the movie culminates with a party where we're not even quite sure if U.S. Space is trying to raise money for the Klan or not. But either way, it looks really bad. And I don't know, everybody just kind of makes up at the end. It's really fucked up.
So a real problem with this film, aside from the film itself,
massive issues.
Listen, we all know that Richard Donner is a very, very qualified filmmaker, and he has made some bangers in his time. Listen, the man did Goonies. He did Superman. He did Superman 2, the better of the Superman.
Okay.
He did, he's done great. He did Lady Hawk. Love Lady Hawk.
God, Lady Hawk. The soundtrack.
Yeah, he's done some really great, did Lethal Weapon, did great movies. There are some really big problems here, especially when it comes to the editing and just general filmmaking of this film, where there are parts of the script and parts of the plot that seem to be missing. And I can't quite figure out what happened. And it might have been because they were really behind schedule, because I've read that was an issue on this film. And maybe they were very hurried, or maybe there were other things going on. And we could just put that in air quotes, other things.
Right. And it's kind of weird too, because it's like they kind of introduced like the idea via Richard Pryor's girlfriend, right? Who's kind of like a lawyer. She's kind of like a civil rights kind of lawyer, right? And they kind of like expose that like this party towards the end is like a fundraiser for the Klan, but then they kind of jump to, actually, we just kind of want to get the senator a picture with the head of the Ku Klux Klan, like the Grand Master of the Ku Klux Klan. It looks like U.S. Bates is involved. Like he knows what's up. Either way, it's a pretty bad look, but they don't really confirm it for sure. It just looks like that's what the deal is, which makes it even more disturbing that at the end, everybody does kissy face makeup and everything. And then the kid gets to go to Richard Pryor's house for a week every year. He gets like shared custody with the fucking guy who was raising money for the Klan. I don't know. It was the 80s. So not surprising, but still rather disturbing to rewatch as a grown woman.
And it's never clear, like, is this a fundraiser for the Klan? Is that what this is? Is this like the Klan needs a roof?
Okay. Yeah, I was confused. And thank you for confirming that. I had every right to be confused by that.
Yeah.
Because it's not entirely clear. It's not clear, but either it's like, and honestly, was that necessary?
No.
Like given like where the movie goes and like where it ends, it was completely unnecessary. It doesn't serve any purpose but to make U.S. Bates look like a giant asshole. And then it looks even worse towards the end once they make up. It's just like, what are you trying to say?
I think they just had access to those go-karts and they needed like a big set piece to use them other than writing them down the stairs from earlier in the movie. Because like, hey, we have these go-karts that can go 50 miles an hour and we have access to all these other toys because this movie is basically just an ad for toys. So we need a way to showcase these toys. Let's use them against the Klan. It's
Chekhov's go-karts.
Yes.
It's like theirs are going to come back somehow. And I swear it's going to be for a Klan fundraiser. All right. So let's dig in. Do you want to start digging into the worst offenses of the film?
We do a list of the worst offenses. And sometimes we put charges against it. And as I was trying to make this list, I realized that there's no real way to make this list, as I was just making a list against things that hurt my soul.
Yeah.
And so
that's fair.
And that list ended up being like over 40 items. So I don't know if I can actually go into this as much as I just need to read this list to my therapist at some point in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But we've already covered a huge amount of it, like the betting for food stamps, the fact that U.S. Bates's paper is well known for not hiring blacks. Mm-hmm. And that is mentioned verbatim several times throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm.
When he is hired by U.S. Bates, it's as a French maid, and they throw an adult man into a French maid's uniform. And then later on in the film, the woman who had no part of the hiring process is fired for that move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not good. Oh, can I tell you about like one of the most shocking parts?
Oh yeah, please. Okay. Yeah, jump in
that I totally was just like, oh my God, I can't believe she just said that. Okay, so you know the woman, I don't know what her name was, but she was like nanny or the tutor. She like lived in the house.
Fräulein.
Fräulein, is that what her name?
Yeah,
Okay,
Fräulein. I had a whole list about her
okay,
too.
so at first she's just like, oh my God. Like she's just like, trying to get everybody to behave or whatever, which seemed to be her shtick. But then at one point he's passing by her bedroom and she tries to like sexually assault him. And she asks him, are you brown all over? Wow. That was amazing.
She like was like, come and let me scrub the brown off.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like
it was so bad.
You're like, Fräulein,
that's not allowed. That's not
any of this necessary?
No.
And there is a scene also where when you peek into her room, she's watching movies about Hitler.
But she is fetishizing a black man
while watching
movies about Hitler. That's some kink right there. Okay, so I got that off my chest about it because I was like, I don't know if that one's going to make the podcast because it was such like a fleeting moment, but it was quite shocking to me.
I mean, yeah. Also, when he buys Jack and then has Jack wrapped up.
Oh, and when they contemplate whether taking a black man is legal.
Yes. Okay.
Like that's an open question. Open question. Not sure.
Yeah, not sure. And then when so they're contemplating whether or not a black man is legal. They decide that that's okay. They go to purchase him. As they're giving him money, above him, there is a large Confederate flag that is plainly visible. And then they wrap him up. So they put him into a crate with popcorn and a little bow. Mm-hmm. And what I can only imagine was a nice suit. At least they gave him a suit. That was fine. And then the minute he gets out of the crate, they start throwing firecrackers at him. And then he does the double time speed thing where he jumps up onto a door frame.
Oh God, that was so bad. It was so cringeworthy. It wasn't even. It's like there were so many gags in here that were just unfunny. Like the soup gag.
Yeah,
that was super unfunny. Like him like dancing around like with the firecrackers, super unfunny. Grabbing onto the door like a frightened little something. Like he was just like totally emasculated. He was humiliated. He was made to be a clown. He was like this wide-eyed, goofy, minstrel-like kind of character throughout, except for like a couple of moments where he's having like hearts to heart with Eric and stuff, which are meant to be very heartfelt.
But then it was tonally all over the place.
All over the place.
Because it's like they have this heart to heart. So they have this scene where they get into the bathtub together because Fräulein comes out and says, I'm going to tell your father. And he looks at him and goes, does everybody say that? And he goes, yes. He goes, well, I'm going to stop saying that. So you feel, oh, that's a nice little connection that these two characters that I absolutely despise at this point have for a moment. So they get into the tub and he goes, oh, you can't get into the tub with a fully grown naked man. He goes, oh, you're right. And so they get into the tub fully clothed and it's a goofy little moment. And then he says, I love you, Jack, which is weird. It was a little weird.
Well, it was very soon too. He's like totally love bombing Jack.
Yeah.
Like the kid is like just starved for affection.
Absolutely. But it was a nice moment-ish, even though if you don't want to analyze that scene too much. So like,
there were a couple of moments that were meant to be just like, aw. And I totally did the whole aw thing because by contrast you're just relieved that there's like a real moment in the movie. You're just like, oh fuck, okay, thank you for like hugging and like showing like some actual like human affection towards each other, even though the circumstances under which it's happening are still incredibly disturbing. And then
completely destroyed by the next scene.
Totally destroyed because they'll have them all like running around doing something stupid, tripping over something, falling down, bumbling. It's like
2 seconds later they dump oatmeal on his head and he's crying. And you're like, oh, now we're back to humiliating Richard Pryor.
It's deep breaths during the entire movie.
So my list is just like things like that. It's the fact that
keep going. I mean, it was rich with offenses.
He locked Eric in a closet, which at that point I'm like, fine, great. At least I don't have to deal with that little kid anymore. Everything having to do with Fräulein, I made a note of, but we mentioned a bunch of it right now. I mentioned also that Fancy's dinner party.
Oh,
Fancy's dinner party is that whole sequence of events where she parades out Jack and mentions how he bought him for his son and he's in the Spider-Man pajamas and he humiliates him and then he walks out and it's just, and again, it's mixed up with it's tonally incorrect
Mm-hmm.
because you don't know if the kid likes Jack or doesn't like Jack because he takes revenge on the dinner party, but he seems to hate Jack because right before that, he was also about humiliating him.
Mm-hmm. Well, he wants to be like the one in control. Like the kid is just
Yeah.
kind of like, this is my toy. This is like my possession, right? Like you don't get to play with my toy. I'll humiliate him the way that I want to humiliate him, right? At least that's like the stage that we were at that point in the movie. Like before the kid, I think, actually started to consider that he was maybe a human being. Remember?
Right.
Like the whole I think it was like when they were next to the lake where they went fishing or whatever. And he's like, you don't buy friends. You don't do this to friends. You ask friends for permission. You don't tell them to do this. Like that was sweet. That was a sweet moment, like a humanizing moment, you know? And I wish that he was like more like that throughout the entire movie. But they all like you were saying, it was tonally completely erratic. And like one minute, like you're having like this wholesome moment, and the next, it's like you're completely degrading this person again.
And then it's filled with little scenes like where they're asking about sex,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like,
"Oh God, so uncomfortable." Please go into detail for our listeners.
So it's a scene, and it's after the dinner party because Jack leaves a couple times, and they always bring him back with the lure of more money, and then finally the final lure is 10 grand.
Mm-hmm.
So they bring Jack back for 10 grand, and at some point, him and Eric kind of work things out where they're more friendly with each other. And Eric asks Jack about how sex works.
Mm-hmm.
And it's right
something about sticking it in. This is a PG movie too, right?
Yeah. And he doesn't, he's like, do I stick it in? About how it works. And Jack is giving him pointers on how to get with another 9-year-old girl. And it's like, but it seems okay.
It's
hold her
innocent
hand.
enough. Yeah. He's like, gently take her hand, you know,
Yeah,
and
lead
it's like, kind of
her.
like joke. Yeah. And
it was very gentle advice. But then at the end of it, he attacks Eric and tickles him and says, do you want to jump her?
Jump her bones.
Jump her
right?
bones, yes.
You want to
and
jump
you're
her
just
bones?
like, oh, well, that's completely destroyed. Thanks for destroying that cute moment.
That's disgusting. Like with a 9-year-old. A 9-year-old I don't know. Do 9-year-olds? I don't remember what it's like to be a 9-year-old. Are they asking about that shit?
Listen, I was watching The Toy when I was 9 years old, so apparently I was learning from TV this kind of shit.
Oh,
So
that's true. I guess I was like watching Basic Instinct. Like, never mind.
if I was
don't wanna
watching
talk about it.
DC Cab at age 5 or 6, then I'm sure
We were watching
that-
Purple Rain when it came out.
Yeah,
So it's
so,
like,
like,
I
I'm
guess I can't say
sure-
anything. I retract everything I said.
But we didn't have an adult telling us to say it.
Yes.
And that's what's going on here.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing I think that's like the most gross, and I think this takes us back into Blue Lagoon territory, is that it's kids talking about it, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's something gross about it. It's like I don't care about like watching movies like with adults talking about peepees and vajayjays, but I do care about
Or kids talking about with other kids.
kids talking about with other kids because they just don't know and like they're innocently kind of
Yeah.
like exploring or like whatever. But like I would have loved a little bit more deflection, like the discomfort that you usually see in movies, like whenever a kid's like saying, "How are babies made?" and the adult's like, "Well, but you know, it's like,
Yeah.
like totally human reaction. It's like, well, you're not going to go there, right?" And for a little bit, they kind of get there with like his speech about like how to treat a girl until the tickling scene, which was, yeah, I didn't need it.
Listen.
Didn't love it.
It's okay when adults talk to each other about sex, and it's okay when kids talk to each other about sex, and it's okay when a responsible adult talks to a child about sex. But this conversation was not okay because, again, it seemed like he was overstepping.
And honestly, it's like, it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
It was totally unnecessary. It didn't drive any point home. You never meet this girl, right?
No.
It's like we never see her, or like we never see him interact with her or anything. Thank God after that conversation. It just didn't serve any purpose. Like it just served to kind of just gross us both out. I wonder how that was taken back then, though. Back in 1982. Because, I mean, there was all sorts of fucked up shit happening in 80s movies back then. I mean, once again, let's look at Blue Lagoon. That was seriously messed up. But was it just accepted that kids talk like that in movies? Like with grown-ups?
I
don't remember.
Listen, I know that there were good movies that were made in the 80s. I know that
even
for
though
a
we
fact.
refuse to talk about them, apparently.
We haven't watched any in a really long time, but I know that they exist.
There's a ton.
So they're out there.
They are. We just choose to talk about these because it's way more fun to talk about them.
Just the ones that we have been watching have been fueled mostly by desperation and cocaine.
Yes. Yes.
So the writers that they have been getting are mostly bottom of the barrel.
You
I
can
don't
tell.
know what's going on with this particular movie, but I can tell you right now that they probably just let Richard Pryor go bananas.
And he seems to in several different scenes. Like, he seems like he's just kind of lost his fucking mind. He's jumping all over the place. He's running around. He's bouncing around. Was he like this in any other movie that you can recall? I can't remember.
I mean, in all the stuff that he does with Gene Wilder, he's because he plays so well off of Gene Wilder.
Yes.
It's fine, and it's not.
But it's like, I mean, that makes sense though, because it's like they're both kind of doing the same thing. Like in
Right.
this movie, it's like Richard Pryor's character is working in a vacuum. Like,
Yes.
and nobody else is in on whatever the fuck he's doing.
It's almost as if everybody's in a different movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, and it seemed like the kid and the dad are in the same movie, pretty much. But Richard Pryor is kind of like this weird kind of like live wire that's like thrown in there, and they're forced to kind of not react in a natural way to it. It's weird. It's like he's like running around, jumping on doors and shit, and it's just kind of like nobody else is doing any of this.
Right. He's like almost in like an improv satire kind of comedy along the lines of something like Abraham Zucker would make.
Yeah.
And then Jackie Gleason and Scotty Schwartz is in something like a family drama with some comedy elements. And then Fancy is just in like a sex romp.
Yeah. She's in soft porn.
Yeah. And then you have the Klan.
But that was like, I mean, talking about Fancy for just a second, like that was such a normal type of character to have in movies back then.
Sure.
Like the ditzy blonde, the busty ditzy blonde, you know, with the high pitched voice, you know, I mean, that was like such a staple back then. I mean, she was terrible. Like usually like those characters are pretty harmless. She was not harmless at all.
No,
Like,
she was evil.
She was terrible.
She was actually, if she had more power, she would have been the villain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because she orchestrated the evil parties.
Mm-hmm.
She invited the Klan. She knew the Klan was there. She dressed like cotillion. She knew exactly what was going on. She hates the kid. She's kind of like a low-key villain just with no power.
Right. Like she and US are kind of like a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Because they're both just terrible people. And I mean, I would argue that US doesn't really get that much better towards the end. I think he gets a tiny bit of redemption, but we still don't know if he was raising money for the Klan, number one. And now the only way that he has humanized this black man is by allowing him to be a glorified babysitter 1 week a year.
Well, I know that his ultimate goal was to get the picture of the Klansman with the politician so he can have ample use to blackmail them later on.
Mm-hmm.
So he can threaten to run it in his newspapers, which makes him not a great human being.
No, he's terrible.
I know that the party was on his property.
Yes.
So that leads me to believe that he threw a Klan party.
He did.
Whether or not the party was for the Klan is a different story that we're still trying to figure out.
I mean,
And
it's like a matter of
circle-
semantics too. I
Yeah.
mean, come on, it's really bad either way, right?
It is. It's still bad. And we're going to circle back to that in just a sec because there's another issue, a list of issues I want to tackle, which is just general filmmaking issues.
Okay, let's go.
Also, they do mention that Jack is not the first man that he had bought, that they had bought the butler, the British butler.
By the way, my favorite character in the entire movie.
Yes.
Yes, he was great. What's his name? Barkley?
Barkley.
Yeah, and he has a martini with him at all times.
As I would too if I was
If
bought.
you had to work there, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You got to
'cause
make the most of it.
He was won in a poker game.
Oof, Jesus.
Yes, he was won by Mr. Cavendish in a poker game. So not the first time that a human being was bought and sold by this terrible family. And there was also this dialogue while they were breaking into the paper where Eric says, "Are you a thief?" And Jack responds, "It's part of the black culture."
No, he says it's a part of the black cultural imperative.
Yeah.
I have that written down too.
Oh,
my God, it was so bad. I rewound that 3 different times because I was like, wait, what is he talking about?
All right, we both took that note. We're like, oh, fuck.
I know. So bad. I have that one up like right now.
And then again, this is all before the Klan shows up.
Yeah. By the way, okay, like while I'm watching this kid, it totally made me think that he was like a little mini Elon Musk. I'm like, this is like the way that Elon Musk was raised. This is like little Elon, little racist Elon right now.
Sure.
That's like what it reminded me of because he's like super entitled. He's a little bit racist. Well, a lot racist probably. Just probably needs a hug. I don't think Elon ever got one, to be honest with you. But it was totally giving off those vibes to me. I don't know if that resonated with you at all, too.
I'll go with that. I'll go with that.
And plus, his boss is saying things like, I am reality.
Yes.
I mean, all of that stuff like struck me, unfortunately. Maybe I'm like a little bit too plugged into the news, but all of that stuff was like a little bit too on the nose for me.
Now we're going to go into the actual bad filmmaking parts of it.
All right.
So the movie was just, as a film, and taking it from the idea of whether or not you're a director or a cinematographer or a writer, just a badly made film. And I am not a filmmaker. I am just someone that watches a lot of fucking movies, as does Krissie.
Yes, I do.
So we can recognize whether or not there is good filmmaking and bad filmmaking.
Yes, we can.
And this has a lot of what I would call filmmaking red flags.
Let's go for it.
Okay, so there's big things like the fact that you can see PA's hands in the Wonder Wheel scene. So if you watch that scene, there are extra hands holding on and spinning the wheel. And you can see those hands.
Wonderful.
So I would just call that bad filmmaking, bad editing. Right?
Yep.
And then there is stupid setups. Things like the dominoes.
Oh, the dominoes were so
things
not funny.
Like the soup, things like, or the oatmeal.
Or
setting up that silver tray at the bottom of the stairs when they're coming down it for it to be no purpose other than for a car to hit it.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything that the cars ran into at the Klan rally, like everything that was set up for them to knock over, everything in that house.
As if things falling down is just naturally funny, regardless of the context.
Yeah. The way that the scenes were set up so that it created these weird tonal shifts. So it would go from heartwarming scene to weird scene to heartwarming scene to like comedic scene. So you just didn't know how to feel about anybody.
No, it was very confused. Like there wasn't a through line emotionally for the film at all. It was completely all over the place. And it was as if it couldn't decide what to be besides bad.
Right. And then like all of those weird fast forward scenes
where the double time.
Yeah, all the double time scenes. Like those seemed like vastly out of place. And I just don't know why they were added. They were not funny. The scene with the piranhas didn't make any sense.
Nothing. Just to make him like wear a shirt with like a whole bunch of holes in it. Like what? Like what's the point? The worst thing this film did was in terms of its story, right? In the end, what you would think is that you're going to have like some kind of humanizing moment for U.S. Bates, some kind of like overarching humanizing moment for the kid or something like where Richard Pryor's character gets like some shred of dignity at the end. But back to your point about like the heartwarming moment to like the kind of slapstick moment and back and forth. It's like every single time they have an opportunity to humanize him and to have like a really good moment, the next they're completely debasing him all over again. And the worst part is that Richard Pryor's character is part of the problem. It's like he's manic. He is often very childlike. There was like one moment when U.S. Bates is like pointing a gun at him and then he starts sucking his thumb. And I was just like, that is like one of the most cringe things I've seen in this movie so far. Right.
Yeah.
Just like making him like this helpless child that is just desperate for money, who will do whatever, who like just doesn't know how to like behave like an actual adult. But then like they'll go back and forth and like then he has like a great, moment with the kid. And so it's like every single time they take a step forward, they take 3 steps back. And they never really redeem him by the end of the film.
The scene where Richard Pryor has gathered all the stuffed animals gathered around him and is giving a lecture and demeaning himself. And he's talking to the stuffed animal. He's like, I'm the new toy. You guys are out of date. You guys are the old toys and I'm the new toy. And then one of the toys is a remote control dog that pisses on him. And he immediately starts getting frustrated and almost starts crying because this doll starts pissing on him. And you're like, this isn't a normal reaction.
No.
There's nothing funny about the scene.
That's the thing. It's like he's acting like a child. Like
Yeah,
they've
and
totally
it's-
infantilized him.
Yeah, it's just to watch it. It's painful to
Mhm.
watch someone of Richard Pryor's caliber, where you've seen him be genius, you've seen him be funny,
Yeah. Oh my God, he's a genius comedian.
and now you're just watching him act for cocaine.
Well, also, I mean,
I can only assume.
I mean, you have to wonder though, because it's like so against type. It's so
It
against
is.
like everything that made him famous and made him a genius. Like
Yes.
he just completely did the opposite of that. And I don't know if what was driving him. Like, was it? Was it cocaine? Was it the fact that he wanted to stretch himself, and like say like I want to like do something different. I don't want to be known for only like one thing. I mean, that's possible, but it didn't really work out at all for him.
No.
Like, I mean, he needed a completely different movie. He needed a Beverly Hills Cop. It's like he needed something like that and not this.
And he had that for a little while. Like when he was working with Gene Wilder, he was like, he had that. And
Yeah.
like,
They
and don't
had
forget-
some magic.
yeah, he also like co-wrote Blazing Saddles. So clearly he had a good track record in Hollywood at some point.
And he knows how to be really funny.
And he's very funny
Blazing
man, yeah.
Blazing Saddles is still a freaking hilarious movie. It's still so great.
And he wrote some of the greatest jokes in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's just like depressing to watch a film like this with such a genius and just like not use that genius and just squander it and even debase him. So, okay. First of all, before I go on, do you have any other filmmaking?
There is one point where they were during the heart-to-heart on the lake where he's wearing the short shorts where his testicles jump out of his short shorts a few times. I feel like they could have done some better editing on that
I
scene.
did not even see that.
Yeah, it was very upsetting.
And the rental period has expired on the toy for me. How dare you just tell me this? I can't even go check now.
Kids at home. There you go. A little fun thing, a little Easter egg for you to watch out for.
Okay, so some testy snuck out. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a very difficult question. Okay?
Yeah.
Does this movie have any redeeming qualities?
Absolutely not. I would not watch this movie again if you paid me.
So none of the speeches, none of the heartfelt parts, none of that, like none of it's worth it. And I'm not challenging it. I'm just digging. I'm just trying to see if there's anything redeeming about this film that we can resurrect from the dead.
It's
okay if the answer is no.
I used to think that the painting of Fancy was kind of cool. When I was a kid, I thought that was the mark of like genius for like a rich man. Like, yes, if you're really, really rich, you have pictures of your wife that you have a remote control and all of her clothes disappear. Like these knockoffs of Goya paintings.
Sure.
You can hang.
Sure.
That's it. I mean, like, listen, Eric's weird toy room was kind of cool.
Eric's toy room was kind of cool. The butler was cool. His girlfriend is cool.
His girlfriend was cool, but I don't know much about her. Like, first off, I don't know why she's hanging out with him.
Like, the only reason I think that I like her is because I know that when she's in the frame, like, she's like the one sane person in this film that isn't going to offend me, most likely. Right?
Oh, the other filmmaking issue I had with that is that, like, you never find out how she found out about the party. I feel like that's another thing that's missing. Like, how she got to the party, how she found out what she was doing there with those people. Like, what was she protesting? Like, exactly. She's just there to protest the Klan. How she found that out.
Because she can't, like, really sue them. She's a lawyer.
Yeah.
She's just getting involved.
She's just like, no, we don't want you to have a party. Like, I guess.
I mean, look. It's obvious that this film has many storytelling problems.
Oh yeah, and one more thing that before we figured all this out is just the major one. It was just the fact that it makes these giant jumps in logic, which is it goes from Jack being fired from a French maid directly to him working as a janitor, and then it goes from him going from the part, like, you never know anything about how the party was being set up, so it's just missing giant pieces of script.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just my other major issue.
Yeah, there are major gaps. It's like it felt very thrown together.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's I mean,
It's so much. It's so much.
There's so many problems. Okay, like I have a question for you.
Okay.
Is this worse for you than Soul Man?
Yes. Yes.
Really?
I'll take Soul Man any day of the week over this.
Really?
Any day of the
Interesting.
week.
Okay.
Any day of the week. Because I don't think that Soul Man...
Because you literally looked at me like you hated me the entire time we talked about
No,
that.
I adore you. I just don't know what I was doing with my life at that exact moment. But now I know that it was because I hadn't seen the toy yet.
Oh yeah, you didn't remember. You had no recollection. I didn't remember so much of this movie. I didn't remember so much. Like the clan thing totally I remember like I told you, it's like I only remembered him in like the Spider-Man suit, and I think I remember stuff getting dumped on his head and the go-karts, and that's it.
My husband is such a huge fan of Richard Pryor that he defends this movie to the death.
We should have had him on. We should have to have a conversation.
And when I was watching it and I was cringing, he's like, "This is the best part." Like
So I mean, I'm guessing he likes it in like a very ironic way. Like it's so bad it's good. Or does he think it's actually good?
You know, it was one of those things where I eventually at some point he kept interrupting me when I was writing notes because he's like, "How do you not like this scene?" I'm like, I had to move. Like I had to get out of his way because we were both impeding each other's. I was impeding his enjoyment and he was impeding my cringe.
Oh my gosh. That I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in that living room. Honestly. But
yeah.
I mean, well, I'm glad that he finds some source of happiness with it. I don't want to ask any more questions about that because I love Eric. But I'm just going to let that.
He's a very good man.
You know, he's amazing. I love him. I adore him. But I'm just going to leave that one alone.
It just has
That's all the information I need.
With his love of Richard Pryor. He just loves Richard Pryor so much.
That makes sense. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, Richard Pryor, like we've said. I mean, I think that part of the massive disappointment of this is because it was just a waste of his talent.
It was.
It's a waste of his talent, and it's insulting to him, and he was part of making it insulting to him, which is really disappointing. But I also think that it points to what people were doing back then. I mean, Black people were just starting to get traction in Hollywood. You know, before that, you had very sporadic representation. It's like, yeah, you know, Sidney Poitier, you had Harry Belafonte, you had, you know, it's like you had some people here and there that you could point to and be like, great actor, right? But it was like during the 80s that they really started to put them in more movies. It was just how they were represented that was the problem. And like how they were being depicted, that was the problem. So, and this is like a prime example of that. You know, you have like this superstar and he agrees to do this film because he probably knows how hard it is to get movies made. And he's probably lucky to even have the script on his desk. And so he says, okay, and he does it. And maybe he's not even in on how offensive it is, too. Because a lot of times back then, people were still trying to figure that shit out. So it's just really disappointing on like a lot of different levels, I guess.
You know, I'm going to go home and watch Harlem Nights.
Oh, my God, Harlem Nights. I remember that one. I remember seeing that in the theater.
I saw that in the theater. Is it a good movie? No.
No.
Is it better than this movie?
Absolutely.
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Well, Harlem Nights, that wasn't even, wait, am I thinking about the right movie? That was Eddie Murphy. That was like
Murphy,
1920s gangster movie.
Richard Pryor, Red Fox.
Yes. Okay. All
Jasmine Guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember. And she's just like, I'm
Della
Creole.
Reese.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember.
Sunshine. Yeah.
Oh, man. I haven't seen that movie in ages, man. Okay. Yeah. We're going to have to revisit that one at some point. All right. So nothing we can dig up as good at all.
No,
Okay.
no. I'll throw this little nugget of fun for you out. Scotty Schwartz, the star of this movie, this was his debut.
Adorable. In the face.
Yes. Later on, you might know him. He did Christmas Story. He played Flick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, got his tongue caught to a pole, and later on did more interesting things with his tongue when he became an adult movie star.
Yay! You know, if you look at his IMDb, he is unrecognizable. Like you can barely even see.
He did do recently the sequel to Christmas Story, so he has that.
Was that a porn or
no? No, it was not a porn.
Okay.
I'm sure he has done possibly other different versions of that, but he did a legitimate sequel to Christmas Story for one of the streaming services.
Got it. All right. Well, we'll give him that. One other thing I will note is that they got somebody like Ned Beatty and completely ruined him too. Like they ruined everybody in this movie. so bad. It's like, Ned Beatty, why did you do this? I don't understand.
And I want to say that, like Ned Beatty and Richard Pryor did like later on get to do Superman movies. So
that's true.
That maybe it just helped their relationship.
Maybe they were buds.
Yeah.
That's like one good thing, one silver lining, I guess.
I don't know if they worked together on the Superman movies because I don't think that Ned Beatty was in the third one with Richard Pryor.
Okay.
Because I think, and if they were, I think their scenes were separate.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
But I think that Richard Pryor was just Gus and like worked on his own thing. And he was just, doing the number scam and never got to meet Ned Beatty. I don't think Ned Beatty was in the third one. I think he was just in the two.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I can't find anything redeeming about this movie either.
No.
Like there were parts where I tried to connect with the heartfelt moments, but they just got completely trashed in the next scene. So not a lot to like there. So, okay, let's go to, I think I know the answer to this, but chuck or cherish?
Chuck it.
Chuck it straight into the fucking atmosphere.
It's fucking terrible.
Drop kick this fucking thing into a place where it can never be found.
It made me fall into the sunken place.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I think that we're all in the sunken place. I was definitely in the sunken place, like just falling through the darkness.
The minute he appeared in a French maid uniform, I just fell into the sunken place.
I was like, I know where this is going to go. This is not good at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're chucking it. Anything else?
Save yourself, save your life. Don't see this. See Harlem Nights. Harlem Nights, a slightly better.
Okay, you know what? I can't say see Harlem Nights. I need to rewatch it because I haven't seen it in decades.
Blazing Saddles.
Oh yeah.
Blazing Saddles.
Okay, definitely
delightful.
Great palate. If you feel forced to watch this movie just to see what we're talking about, palate cleanse with Blazing Saddles afterwards.
Yes,
and everything will be right with the world because it is still an amazing movie.
Indeed.
All right. Anything else? Any closing thoughts?
That is all.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening, and we will be back with another truly disturbing film the next time. So buckle up.
Woot woot.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.